Hi, Tully's Tiber here, just giving a quick little rundown of the recent Hellish Quart updates, as well as discussing the new content Kobold has teased for upcoming updates. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first little patch update since my last video has a fixed bug where when Laszlo is selected, the visible name is Marie. Now his name is shown correctly, which in my last video I pronounced it Laszlo, and according to a commenter, it is Laszlo. So, my bad for that. There's also the tweak. Marie no more constantly repeats push and attack scheme when in close range, which good, makes her a little less clunky. The next patch fixed a bug where you could spam push hand very fast with Marie and standardized the push hand timings for all characters. After grab break, characters now dodge backwards to prevent spamming grab, which sometimes led to characters passing each other for a moment. So another quick little fix to sort of balance the characters out, put them all on more an equal footing, and prevent the spamming of grapples. The next patch fixed both for Gideon and Barabbas a bug where the guarding animations would sometimes alter the attack animations. And now for the final, and probably most important of these patches, we have now special move lists for all characters in the pause menu. Thank God, finally. And I have to say, out of all the characters, Isabella, the longsword wielding character, has quite the extensive moves list. Although her moves are dependent entirely upon what stance she's in, and her attacks alter her stance. So she's really tricky to actually figure out her moves list, jumping back and forth between the two sets constantly. Anyways, there is now practice versus player mode, or in other words, you can do the practice mode with the wooden weapons with another player instead of just the AI. Jacek, Barabbas, and Laszlo, their long guard attacks have a longer startup phase when they can't be cancelled. Laszlo, longer cooldown when trying to spam the push down animation, or in other words, the long guard move where you can push the enemy's blade down now has a longer cooldown, so it can't be spammed. And the arenas Gallows, Meadow, Steppe, Dungeon, Snowy Hut, the arena limits no longer physically block swords. And finally, for Laszlo, blood decals no longer show in the no blood mode. So that is it for the updates. Now moving on to the recent teases. The most recent one was a little teaser showing off them testing changing the clothing assets for the models in-game. Now, the need for changing the assets mid-gameplay I don't really see a point of, but more than anything I think it's just to test the clothing items on the models themselves, and this will be useful more than likely for anything for the story mode or arcade modes, so that way they don't have to have separate models for each individual character or constantly repeating using character models over and over again when they're supposed to be different people in the story, as well as I wouldn't be surprised if the game ends up using a sort of Tekken or Soul Calibur character customizer, whereas you play through like arcade or story mode, you unlock cosmetics for the different characters, so you can customize their look to how you see fit. Although apparently this feature is a decent ways off, as the developer needs to 3D scan more clothing, so that way there's just more raw assets to use in the game. And now, the last thing for this video is the little mini quest adventure mode that was recently teased. This features an overhead map that looks fairly similar to Mountain Blade, if you've ever played that series of games, where you go to locations and interact with NPCs through text boxes with a little sort of choose your own adventure style format that can lead to fights or other outcomes. Apparently each character will have at least one of these, and this is mainly to give players something more to do other than fight the AI or other players while they wait for the story mode. Now, the overworld map will apparently be utilized in the main campaign. However, instead of the text boxes you should be seeing, there will instead be fully voiced and animated cutscenes. I also kind of hope they do a sort of RNG roguelike-esque kind of arcade mode, where they could do these little randomly generated mini quests as opposed to a more traditional arcade mode could be interesting to see. However, I guess we'll have to wait and see how the development pans out to see if something like that comes along. Now, before I sign off, I gotta say, the project the developers have put before themselves is much more ambitious than they at first let on, with this campaign mode, this sort of open world or open map campaign system, character customization, and the fact that plenty of other features are coming. It seems like this project is going to be a very ambitious one, and hopefully by the time it exits early access, we'll have a very good set of features and gameplay options to keep people entertained for quite some time. Anyways, I have been Tullius Tiber. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do read the comments and respond to them when I get a chance, and I'd love to have a discussion with people on how they think the game's coming along, or just their own opinion about its current state, or things they'd like to see added or changed over the course of the development. Anyways, have a nice day.